Hi there, I'm Tara Kestner. Welcome to Next Level Yoga Summer Porch Series. We're out here on a little bit of a rainy day, so unless I electrocute myself with all the electronics around here, should be a good time. Today's class is what I call, when I teach it at the gym, an interval training class, where there's some flow and then there's some slow. Or in yoga parlance, it would be referred to probably as a yin-yang. So what we're going to do is start out down on the mat, get up for a nice slow flow, get the blood going, come down, do everybody's favorite little bit of core work, back up for a second vinyasa sequence, and then down to the mat for a nice soft landing into final relaxation. Don't need any props today, so just need you and a mat and a good attitude. So let's get started. So find a comfortable way to sit, whatever that may mean to you, hopefully something of a cross-legged nature. If it's really uncomfortable for you to sit this way, consider sitting up on a towel or a block, possibly. I don't find those as comfortable, or a blanket. And we'll take a nice slow breath in. And as you exhale, begin to close your eyes. And let your thoughts move around, and then eventually, like a leaf blowing in the wind, they'll come to some stillness. And then just begin to settle into that stillness. When you found that quiet center, begin to tune into your breath. On your next exhale, consciously relax your shoulders. On your next exhale, unclench your jaw. On this last exhale, soften that space between your eyebrows and your entire face. And begin to softly blink the eyes open. Bring your hands around behind you. Turn your palms out. With a nice slow inhale, sweep up through those tight shoulders. And on the exhale, release and let it go. Let's do that again. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, let it go. This time we'll inhale up. Pausing there. This time as you exhale, just relax your shoulders down and let your hands drop onto your elbows. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, begin to lean to your left, starting to pry that rib up off of your hip bone. Move the spine around gently and then bring it back to the center. Lift your face, look up, reach up. And then, just like you're climbing up a rope, lift your left hand higher than your right hand higher than your left higher than right higher than left. Get as long in the spine as you can, and then pause. Let your shoulders relax back down and turn your face to your left. Now begin to rotate your shoulders to the left. They're not going to go very far. And then let your hands float down to the ground. Prop up your back shoulder with your back hand, maybe on those fingertips, and let the front hand rest on your leg. Turn your chin looking behind you and take a couple of slow breaths here. When you finish this next breath, bring it back to the front. Let's do that again. Hands behind you, palms out. Inhale, sweep up through the shoulders. Reach up, look up. Exhale, drop it and let it go. Inhale it up. Exhale, nice big exaggerated exhale. One more time. Inhale to the top. Reach, reach, reach. And then relax your shoulders and let your hands come down to rest on opposite elbows. Draw in a nice slow breath here. And as you exhale, begin to lean to your right. And then we'll bring it back to the center. Look up, reach up. Begin to climb up that rope, one hand higher than the other. Each time you lift one hand, imagine the spine like an accordion spreading out. And then the other. Work as much length into that spine as you can, and then pause. Look to your right. Begin to rotate your shoulders in that direction. Pause when you've gone as far as you can, and then nothing moves but your arms. Just let them float down. Propping up the back shoulder, creating some support for the spine. Letting the front hand rest on your leg. Begin to gaze behind you. Take a nice slow breath here. And as you exhale, soften through your belly. And then we'll finish this breath and come around to the front. As you get back to the front, lift your knees on up. Still crossed at the ankles. Hold on to the fronts of the shins or the fronts of the knees, whatever you can get a hold of. Tuck your tail under. Hold on tight so you don't roll on your back like a turtle, and then lean back, lowering your chin down to your chest. Seated cat stretch. Pause here. And with your next inhale, begin to sit up tall, lifting the center of the chest, allowing that natural hollow to come into the low back. And as you exhale, sink back into that seated cat, dropping your chin down. One more time, inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, tuck the tail, tuck the chin. And then come on up to a seated position. We're going to come on over to hands and knees, coming into child's pose. So in this child's pose, I'd like you to take your knees as wide as you can and still be on the mat. Bring your big toes to touch. Come onto your forearms. We're going to focus on the lower body here. Begin to sink your hips towards your heels and notice where the resistance comes up. It might be the fronts of your ankles, might be your knees. For me, it's the crease of the hip. And just gently lift and resettle, eventually working your way into this wide-kneed child's pose. And find a way to support your head. Maybe you'll bring your hands up to your forehead. Maybe you'll stack up a couple of fists. Or if you're feeling ready, you can put your head down on the mat. Close your eyes and take 2 very slow breaths here. And as you finish this breath, begin to make your way on up to all fours. We'll highest do it. Bring your knees on in underneath you. And then start to bring your left knee in towards your chest. Drop your nose down there. Flex your left foot hard. Now suck your belly button in. Become very aware of these muscle groups. Now continue flexing that foot and begin to extend the leg out long behind you like you're pushing a wall away or a rock. Push, push, push. Drive through the heel. Notice that extension in your calf muscle. And that contraction in your quad. Now relax your foot. Your right hand. Begin to slide it forward. You can balance here on your fingertips, or if you prefer, lift that hand away from the mat. Bicep comes next to the ear, spinal balance. Once again, let's start to focus on muscle groups. Start to point your left toe just a little. Notice the contraction in the calf. Point a little harder. Notice that extension in your quad, the contraction in your hamstring, contraction in your glutes. Suck your belly button in a little. Let it cradle the spine from the underside. Now reach a little further with that right hand. Take 1 breath here. As you exhale, lower that right hand to the mat. Lower your leg, keeping it straight, and begin to look over your right shoulder. Now start to move that left foot until it comes into view. You can stay here. You can tuck your toe and kind of push into your heel, or you can bend that left knee. bringing it down to the mat. Maybe that'll feel good. Maybe you'll sink back, hips towards heels, kind of like a shoelace pose, face down. One more breath. As you finish this breath, begin to come on up to all fours. We'll do all of that on the other side. This time the right knee, bring it in towards the center of the chest. Drop your nose down there. Flex your right foot. Suck your belly button in and take a breath in. As you exhale, begin to extend your right leg out slowly, like you're pushing that boulder away with your foot. Spread your fingers wide. Drive through that heel. Now relax your foot. Slide your left hand forward. Keep on your fingertips if your balance is a little iffy, or lift the hand away. Spread the fingers wide on that right hand, gazes straight down at the mat. Take a breath in. As you exhale, begin to point your toe on your right foot. Point a little harder, contract in the quad or in the hamstrings and the glutes. Now suck your belly button up and in and reach a little further with your hand. Take one breath here. As you exhale, lower your left hand to the mat. Lower your straight leg and look over at your left shoulder. Begin to slide your foot until it comes into view. You can stay right here or begin to bend that right knee and then begin to sink the hips back in that outer hip stretch. One more breath. And as you exhale, make your way back to all fours. We'll take the knees a little wider, not as wide as that first version of child's pose, and begin to sink back, hips towards heels, lowering down onto the forearms. This time, we'll slide the hands towards the top of the mat, and then take the hands wide, so your little fingers are hanging off the edge of the mat. Begin to lift the palms away from the mat, coming onto your fingertips, and press the fingertips into the mat, engaging the muscles of the wrists, the forearms, down through the armpits, and across the shoulders. Imagine that you're shifting the tailbone just a half an inch closer to your heels. Take one more breath here. As you finish that breath, palms come down on the mat. Begin to lift yourself on up to all fours. We'll finish this kneeling sequence in cat-cow. So knees come under you, right under the hips, hands right under the shoulders. Begin to wag the tail a little and drop the belly down, lift the face. Take a breath in. As you exhale, tuck your tail, tuck your chin into your chest and round your back. On the inhale, drop the belly, lift the face. And as you exhale, round up into that cat stretch. It might feel nice to move your hips back a little and get into your shoulders a little more. One more of these, inhaling to cow. And exhaling, round it out. Cat stretch. And then we'll come to a neutral spine, a flat back. Begin to tuck the toes under. Drop your head, look at your knees. Now lift your knees a few inches off the mat. And drop your head a little more, look at your thighs, and continue to lift your hips on up. Don't try to straighten your legs. Instead, just start pedaling out your heels, moving the hips from side to side, pushing the ground away from you, and keeping the chin slightly tucked into the chest. And we're going to start to walk the feet up towards the wrists, bringing the knees up under the belly, making a little shelf with your thighs, and letting your belly rest on or between your thighs. Now drop your head and look through your legs, letting the weight spill forward into the toes and the balls of the feet. Just completely relaxing forward, letting the spine decompress here. You're welcome to stay here static or begin to sway a little from side to side. take one more breath. And then we'll eventually become still. If you took that sway, just let the momentum fade. No abrupt stops. But eventually you'll be still. And then we're going to come into a slow halfway lift. Begin to bring your hands up the fronts of your shins. Begin to straighten out your legs one at a time. Move your hands wherever you need to get those legs straight. Now start to lift your face so that you can flatten out your back, and just pause here. And rebend the knees. Slide back down the legs. Drop your head. And take in a breath. And let it go. Let's do that with the breath this time. On the inhale, halfway lift. And on the exhale, forward fold. One more just like that. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Take your arms wide. Begin to rise up to standing, reaching for the sky, pressing the palms together. And move the hands back as you press the hips forward, stretching out the front line of the body. And then bring everything to the center. Look straight ahead. Bring your hands down that center line. And drop them back and down. Turn your palms out. And just like the butterfly stroke in swimming, bring your arms up and around, circling through that glenoid socket. Press the palms together, bend your knees, and swan dive to the floor. Let's put all of that together. On the inhale, halfway lift. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, pressing the palms. And as you exhale, bring your hands down the center line. Inhale, circle sweep up and around. And on the exhale, dive for the floor. One more just like that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, pressing your palms. And as you exhale, bring your hands on down. Inhale, circle sweep the arms around, pressing the palms, and melt to the floor in that swan dive. Stay right here. Steady yourself with your hands. Step your feet back. And on this first one, let's lower to our knees to isolate the triceps. As you inhale, bring your shoulders forward, up over your wrists. Gaze out beyond the mat. Now slowly bend your elbows, depositing yourself down onto the mat. Stretch the legs out long. And with the inhale, begin to peel the chest up off the mat, cobra pose. And as you exhale, lower it back down. Push yourself away from the ground. Walk your knees up under you. Tuck your toes, and with a big inhale, downward facing dog. As you exhale, walk the feet up behind the wrists. Back into your flow. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to standing, pressing the palms. Exhale, bring the hands on down. Inhale, circle sweep up and around. Bend your knees and swan dive down as you blow the air out. Step it back to plank. This time, we'll stay on the toes. As you inhale, bring your shoulders forward. As you exhale, bend the elbows and lower yourself to the ground. Untuck your toes with a big slow inhale, cobra pose. As you exhale, lower it down. Push yourself away from the ground. Bring your knees up under you. Find your breath again. Tuck your toes. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, walk it to the top. We have 2 more rotations. Here we go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Press your palms. Exhale, bring your hands on down. Inhale, circle sweep around. And exhale, dive for the floor. Step it back to plank. Staying on the toes this time. Inhale, bring the shoulders forward. Exhale, bend the elbows lower down 1/3 of the way and stop. Untuck your toes. Begin to reach forward with the center of your chest. Lift your chin and then push the ground away. Let your hips sink wherever your back will allow. Upward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Drop your head. Lift your hips up. Push up into that downward facing dog. Take a breath in. As you exhale, walk it up to the top. Last rotation, one thing to the next. Here we go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, circle, sweep it up. Exhale, dive for the floor. Step it back to plank. Any version of those previous chaturangas that you like. Bring the shoulders forward. Inhale. Exhale, lower part way or all the way down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, find your way back to downward facing dog. We'll meet there and take one breath together. Inhale. Exhale, walk it to the top. When you get to the top, create that little shelf again with your legs, bending your knees, sitting your hips back. And bring your hands up onto your knees. Now push your chest up off your legs, maintaining that positioning in your lower body. Coming into chair, fairly aggressive chair to finish this sequence. Wiggle your toes. Want to make sure that the weight is in your heels. The quads are going to want to take over. You'll notice if your knees start to come forward, keep them back. Keep your tailbone reaching back. And if you'd like to add a little more work, reach the arms out from the chest. We're going to stay for 30 seconds. 3 slow breaths or more if you're breathing faster. Let it go, blow it out. 10 more seconds here. Inhale. Exhale. When you're ready, bring your hands down to the ground, drop your head, lift your hips a little, forward fold. And then walk your feet back, lower to your knees, and we'll all meet in a seated position however you want to get there. Kind of a good news, bad news situation. We get to sit down. That's a plus. But we're here to do a little core work and do boat in 3 sections. So walk your feet onto the mat, grab the backs of your legs. Now you're going to lift a foot and lift another foot and find that balance between your tailbone and your sits bones, like a 3-legged stool. Drawing the knees into your chest and then lift your feet to knee height. It's not easy, and if you're shaking, that is perfectly normal. Continue to lift your chest. Imagine I've come and I'm scooping you up. I've got one hand behind your legs and one on your low back, and I'm scooping you up. Continue to breathe. We've got 10 more seconds here. Draw the knees in a little tighter. Keep that tight V here. Maintain that tight V. And then let it go. Find a position of comfort, some way to relieve that core, or maybe it's your back that bothers you. And take a rest. We'll move into our second set. Each one gets progressively a little harder, so make sure that you've mastered the previous before you try to move on. Let's go. So coming back, feet flat on the mat, hands to the back of the thighs. Rock back, find your balance, draw your knees in close to your chest, lift your feet to knee height. Now begin to remove your hands from the equation. You can keep them right here just in case you got to go back. You can reach them out farther away. Or if you're feeling very spicy, reach for the horizon and lift your feet a little more. We've got 15 more seconds here. So breathe, continue to draw your knees in towards your chest. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, shaking is good, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Take a little breather. We've got one more set. This time we're going to add a little transverse abdominis work, a little rotation, engages the obliques a little more. Or you're going to do one of the 2 versions we just did. So, only way out is through. Feet on the mat, hands to the back. Let's find that last set. Rock back, find your balance, lift your feet. Now, you can do any of those variations you want, or join me, reaching for the horizon, interlacing the fingers together, looking to your right. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bring that right elbow down and back. Inhale, punch it up to the ceiling. On the exhale, to the left, down and back, like you're rowing a boat. Inhale it up. Exhale to the right. Inhale, punch it up. Exhale to the left. There's only one more on each side. Inhale to the center. Exhale to the right. Draw the knees in. Punch it up. Last one, blow it out. Left elbow down and back. Punch it back up. You made it. Cross at the ankles, roll over your feet, and this is going to sound stupid, but gently lower yourself onto your belly. You've got a lot of contracting going on there and internal muscles, so don't just try to belly flop onto the mat. Not that you would, but you'd be surprised. Come on down. As you come onto the mat, grab opposite elbows, rest your forehead on your forearms, and just rock the hips gently from side to side until you can loosen up those hip flexors, that whole area in the low abdomen. And then start to work your feet out to the edges of the mat or beyond and untuck your toes. We're going to move into Sphinx pose. You're going to take it slow just to not upset your back. So you're going to start to lift your face and walk your elbows back. Check in with your low back. Make sure there's no pinching, burning, or weird sensations down there. And if you're good, you're going to walk another elbow step back. And if that's feeling okay, bring the elbows all the way underneath you. Back off if there's anything weird in the low back, and you can bring your hands out to settle into this Sphinx pose. If you have any issues in your back, a bulging disc, any kind of asymmetries, the compression of this back bend is going to amplify that. And so you don't want to aggravate it. So instead, you're just going to find the height of your shoulders that works for you. Going to stay here for 3 very slow breaths. I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like you to lift and lower your chin until your neck feels completely neutral. And take a slow breath in. Hold it at the top. As you exhale, consciously relax in your low back and your glutes, or if you prefer to think of it, sink your belly into the floor. Let's do that again. Take a slow breath in. Pause. As you exhale, sink the belly to the floor. One more time. Inhale. Blow it out slowly. Nice job. You're going to come on down. Look to the left. Bring your face down to the mat, resting on your right cheek, and bring your hands down by your sides. Palms facing up. Work your feet in so they're about hip distance apart now. We're going to move into locust pose, upper body only first. So one step at a time, lift your face and rest your chin on the mat. Step number 2, begin to close that space between your shoulder blades. Draw your shoulder blades together and then start to lift your hands away from the mat. Your palms are up, your hands are hovering somewhere 6 to 8 inches above the mat. Now begin to lift your chin and engage the muscles along the sides of your spine. Try to do it equally so that no one spot is working harder than another. When you get there, just pause. Keep reaching through your fingertips. And take a nice slow breath in. Let it go. This time, as you inhale, come up a little higher, knowing we're going to let go on the exhale. Start to look to your right, and as you exhale, lower down, resting on the mat, left cheek on the mat. Let your shoulders roll forward. Let your hands rest. Let's move into that full locust. One step at a time. Bring your chin to rest on the mat. Start to squeeze your shoulder blades together, lifting the fronts of the shoulders up off the ground, and then your hands begin to hover, and then you begin to lift your chin, engaging gently along the sides of the spine. Now begin to lift the feet. Still pointing. Notice that contraction in your calf and your hamstring, just like in that spinal balance when I said to focus in on those muscles. Now stay here for a breath. And take one more breath here. You're going to let go on the exhale. So as you inhale, lift up a little higher. And as you exhale, release and let go. Bring your arms up overhead. Grab opposite elbows. Rest your head on your arms. Kick your feet up into the air. And just kind of swing them from side to side like a mermaid's tail. Letting all of those muscles release and relax. I'm going to move from here into our next flow sequence. So one way or another, work your way up to all fours and then ultimately to downward facing dog, and that is where we will start our second sequence. So tuck the toes, drop the head, lift the hips. Take a second here to shake out your neck, just in case you got some compression on those locust poses. And then we'll start on the left side. When you're ready, begin to lift your left leg up behind you, any height that feels good. And then bring your knee in towards the center of your chest, drop your nose down there, and shift your shoulders forward like you're doing a plank. On the inhale, kick that leg back up behind you. And then slowly bring that knee back in towards the center of the chest. Step your foot onto the ground. There is no graceful way to do it, and lower your back knee down. Now look to the left. Begin to slide your left hand up your shin and onto your knee, turning your chest into the inside of that knee. And if it feels good, reach for the ceiling revolved lunge. And then we'll bring it on down. Steady yourself on your fingertips, tuck your back toe under and lift your knee. Slide your back foot forward just a little. Get it under you more. And then take your arms wide and rise up to high lunge. If that didn't work for you, you can climb up that front leg and then bring the arms up overhead. In high lunge, lift and lower that back heel a little. Don't be a statue. Take a breath in. And then begin to hinge forward at the waist, getting really, really long, and we'll airplane the arms, dropping them down and back, palms to the ceiling, drawing shoulder blades together. Your left arm, bring it to rest on your front thigh, and turn your hips so you can flatten out that back foot. Your right hand, like you're picking up a dumbbell off the ground, drop it, fingertips just barely tickle the mat, and then start to reach for the ceiling, coming into that side angle. Draw a breath in here. As you exhale, begin to reach over your head, extended side angle. And with a nice strong inhale, keep your feet just as they are, but cartwheel the arms back, reverse warrior. From reverse warrior, we'll level off the arms. Straighten out that front leg, that should feel good. Let your hips tip back a bit. As you begin to reach as far forward as you can, pause. Then drop that left hand down. Let it rest wherever it lands. Don't push down. Instead, reach for the ceiling. Maintain that work along the side body. Triangle pose. Keep your legs just as they are, but with a big, strong inhale, cartwheel your arms back. Reverse triangle. Now begin to bend your front knee. Don't look, just bend. Imagine a vertical shin, and then level off your arms. Warrior two. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, cartwheel the arms forward, hands to the mat, framing that front foot. Step back to downward facing dog. That's our sequence. Let's try it on the right side. With an inhale, kick that right leg up in the air. As you exhale, knee to nose, bring the shoulders forward. Inhale, kick it up high. Exhale, knee in, foot down, and gently lower your back knee to the mat. Look to the right. Begin to slide that right hand up your shin, turning chest into knee, and if you'd like to, reach for the ceiling, revolve lunge. And then hand comes back to the ground. On your fingertips, tuck that back toe, lift that back knee, slide the back foot forward a few inches, and then high lunge. Big inhale, up we go. As you get here, lift and lower that back heel a little, settle in. Take a breath. And on the exhale, hinge forward at the waist. Drop the arms, airplane arms. Your right arm. Bring it forward to rest on your front leg. Spin your back foot flat. And fingertips just barely tickle the mat with the left hand. On the inhale, reach for the ceiling, side angle. As you exhale, reach over your head, extended side angle. Legs stay just as they are. On the inhale, reverse warrior. And then level off your arms. Straighten out your front leg. Let your hips tip back a bit. As you reach forward, you'll feel a little tugging right on the inside of that leg, and then let that hand float down onto your leg as you reach for the ceiling with the left hand, triangle pose. On the inhale, reverse triangle, cartwheel the arms back. And then bend that front knee. Stack it right over top of the ankle and level off your arms. Warrior two. Take a breath in. As you exhale, cartwheel hands to the mat, stepping back to downward facing dog. Let's try that as a flow, one breath, one movement. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, knee in, foot down. Lower the back knee. Find your breath again. As you inhale, revolved lunge. Exhale, bring it down. Tuck the back toe, lift the back knee. On the inhale, high lunge. As you exhale, hinge forward and airplane the arms. Rest that left arm, turn your hips, and tickle the mat with your right fingers. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, level off the arms, straighten out the leg. Inhale, reach as far forward as you can, pause. Exhale, triangle pose. Inhale, reverse triangle. Bend that front knee. Stack the knee over the ankle and then warrior two. Take a breath in. As you exhale, cartwheel hands to the mat one more time on the other side. Here we go. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, knee in, foot down, lower to the mat. Look to the right. Inhale, revolved lunge. Exhale, bring it down. Tuck that toe, lift that back knee, and when you're ready, big breath in, meet me in high lunge. As you exhale, hinge forward at the waist and airplane your arms. Rest that front arm. Turn your hips. Left fingertips graze the mat, and as you inhale, side angle. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, level off the arms, straighten the front leg. Inhale, reach as far forward as you can. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, reverse triangle. Bend that front knee. Level off your arms. Warrior two. Hands to the mat. Step it back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in here as you pedal out your heels. And then lower to your knees. Take your knees a little wider than your hips and sink your hips back to child's pose. Take a little break here. You made it. From here on out, everything is close to the ground, so that's some good news. Go ahead and sit on up. Bring yourself onto your back for some bridge work. And so coming onto your back, hug your knees in a little, acclimate your spine to being on the ground. Hug them in, rock it out. And then drop your feet to the mat. Bring your heels as close to your glutes as you can get them without helping, and then drop your arms out to the side. Begin to tuck your tail under and start to lift your hips away from the ground. Now notice as you lifted, your quads engage to lift you, and then as you come higher, your glutes have to push up. I'd like you to find equal work between the fronts of the legs and the glutes. So you're going to have to lift and lower until it feels equalized. And then lift your head. Look at your knees. They're probably tipped out a little because the outer leg is stronger than the inner. Bring your knees in a bit and equalize that work. Once you've got everything working, it's isometric tension on all of the muscle groups at the same time. You might feel kind of a buzzing sensation in the legs. We're going to stay for 2 more breaths. One more breath here. As you exhale, release and relax. Bring your hips back down, hug your knees in. Rock it out a little if that feels good, or draw a circle with your knees. And then we'll move back into our second bridge set. Heels come as close to the glutes without helping with your hands. That's cheating. Tuck your tail under. lift your hips up. Close your eyes maybe. Sometimes that helps equalize the work, lifting and lowering the hips until you feel like the hamstrings and glutes are working together rather than one of them slacking. Now lift your gaze above your head. So you're looking up and above your head. So you're keeping your chin lifted. Lift your hips a little higher and bring your hands underneath you. Start to nestle your shoulder blades in there. Maybe interlace your fingers together if that's in the cards for you. Without moving your chin, try to lift your chest a little closer, closing that space between the chin and the chest by only moving the chest. Engaging a few more muscles up into the upper back. Let's take one more breath here. And as you exhale, let it all go. Go ahead and hug those knees in a bit. Rock out that spine if it needs it. You made it. You worked hard. Deserve to lay here on the ground and relax. Let's go ahead and drop that left foot and place the right ankle on the left knee. One hand to the outside of each thigh and guide the legs up closer to you. Reach your right hand through that triangle that you've created and interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. And just hug that knee in. You've got this external rotation in your knee, and then the forward flexion is caused by drawing the legs closer. But don't draw so much that you round up through the shoulders. You want to stay nice and flat through your low back. And take one more breath here. And then let it go. Let's swap out the legs. So left ankle onto right knee. Hands to the outside of the thighs as you guide the legs up. Maybe this is as far as you get today, but hopefully you can reach through that triangle that's created by the left leg. Interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. Relax the shoulders, relax through the low back, and just draw that leg in, creating that stretch in the piriformis muscle, which is down here in your glutes. It's important to try to get after that piriformis muscle a little. It is one of the primary causes of sciatic issues. As it tightens, it pulls the sciatic nerve into the bony structures there. So we'd like to try to keep that little pear-shaped muscle nice and loose if we can. So one last breath here. As you relax, as you exhale, try to release through the low back, and then we'll let go. Let's bring both knees in. Hug them in, interlace the fingers around the left knee. Kick that right foot up into the air, roll the ankle a little bit, not the shoulder, the ankle, and lower the straight leg on down. Hug that knee in tightly and flex that left foot. Now begin to guide the knee to the left outside of the rib cage and draw it up towards your armpit. Gently point your right toe. Take one breath. As you exhale, relax both feet and let your left hand drop to the ground. Slide it away from you a bit. Looking straight up at the ceiling, staying on your back, just guide the knee across your belly and find some outer hip stretch. You might have to lift and lower that knee. And then look to the right. Begin to roll to the right, guiding that knee across, including the low back into this stretch. Let's bring that back onto our backs. Same thing on the other side. Bring that right knee up and in, interlace the fingers around it, kick the left foot into the air and give that ankle a little roll. Lower that straight leg on down. Hug that knee in a little tighter. Flex your right foot and then move the knee to the right so you can clear your rib cage. Point your left toe. Finish your breath here and then relax both feet. And relax your right knee, drop your right hand to the ground, slide it away for counterbalance. Guide that knee across your belly. Find some outer hip stretch, moving that knee wherever you need to. And then look to the left. Continue to roll to the left as you include your back into this twist. And then that's it. Bring your knees in. Wrap your arms around the fronts of your shins like you're hugging your legs. Flex your feet a little and lift your head. Take one breath here. Squeeze everything in tight, and then as you exhale, let it all go. Reach your arms up overhead. Stretch your legs out long. Move your feet wider than your hips. Kind of slap them out a little bit, and then bring your arms down. Let them rest either on your belly or drop them out to the side with your palms facing up. Take a second to lift your chest up. And readjust your shoulder blades underneath you, and then just become very, very still. Close your eyes. And just enjoy a moment of stillness and quiet. And begin to deepen your breath. As you exhale, purse your lips and blow the air out softly, like you're blowing out a candle. Begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and bend your knees and walk your feet back up onto the mat. Just really lazily begin to drop your knees to one side, and then through the center and to the other. And your right arm. Slowly slide it up along the floor until it's about shoulder height. And the next time that your knees drop to the right, allow the momentum to carry you over onto your side. Use your arm as a pillow. And just get comfortable here on your side for a few breaths. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and press yourself on up to a comfortable seated position. When you get there, release your fingers together, extend your arms out long, lower your chin to your chest. Take one breath into that upper back. As you exhale, let it go. Bring your hands around behind you, hook your fingers together. Roll your shoulders up into your ears and then back and down. Lift the center of your chest. And as you inhale, take that breath right into the center of the chest. On the exhale, let it go. One more breath in. We'll sweep the arms up overhead, pressing the palms together. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down in the center line. Thank you so much for joining me out here on the porch today. Namaste.